Bakugo shoved his hands in his pocket as he stomped down the hallway, his friends trailing after him and talking about a bunch of things that didn't even matter. As he moved to turn a corner, he ran smack into someone, or they ran into him. A little squeak filled his ears and he blinked, looking down as the little girl bounced on the floor. He paused, frowning. The girl blinked up at him. She seemed to pose, her scarlet-colored eyes meeting his gaze. "Watch, kid," Bakugo growled. The little girl stared at him for a minute before her eyes started to water. Bakugo froze in place. Big tears rolled down her cheeks as she started to cry. "You're mean." "Jeez, bro, you didn't have to make the girl cry." Sarah snorted from beside him. Bakugo glared at him. "I didn't make her do anything. She just started crying." Bakugo snapped. Mina quickly moved and crouched down by the girl. "Hey there, little one. There's no need to cry. It's just like that." Mina tried to soothe the girl. The girl sniffed, crying and biting her lip. Mina gave her a big grin. "Come on, you didn't mean it, I promise." The girl stiffened, shifting to hide a little behind Mina. "Hey, stop scaring her, dude." Bakugo rolled his eyes. Is no one gonna question why there's a little kid on the campus?" Kaminari pointed out. The other blinked. "Hey, he's kinda right there," Kirishima muttered. They all looked at the little girl. She blinked and looked between them. The little girl blinked. You look familiar," she explained. Mina rose an eyebrow. "Familiar?" she asked. The girl nodded. She pointed at Kirishima. "You look like Uncle Kiri." The other paused, looking at him. He blinked at her. "Uncle? Jeez, Kiri, you didn't tell us you had a niece." Kaminari told him, clapping him on the back. "But I don't. At least, I don't think I do." "And your Aunt Mina." Mina paused, pointing at herself in surprise. "You look pink, just like her." Mina blinked. The girl pointed at Kaminari. "You look like Uncle Nari and your Uncle Zero." She pointed at each of the group. They all exchanged glances. Kaminari paused. "Well, what about him? You didn't mention him." The little girl stared at him. She frowned. "I don't know." Bakugo stared at her in annoyance, his hands still shoved in his pocket. "You look like Daddy, but you're mean. Daddy isn't mean." Mina let out a laugh. "Well, isn't this funny?" Mina chuckled. She moved. She closed her eyes. "I'm sure you have us confused with someone else." "So you're not Aunt Mina?" the girl asked. Mina paused. She looked at the little girl, her heart throbbing at the pout on the girl's face. For some reasons, Mina couldn't help but think she looked familiar a little bit. Mina quickly pulled her into a hug. "Oh, you can call me Aunt Mina if you want." Mina squealed. The girl all rolled their eyes. The little girl giggled, holding Mina back. Mina pulled away after a moment. "Say, little one, do your parents work here?" My mom is an artist and my daddy is a pro hero. He's super powerful. He uses explosions." The little girl exclaimed happily. She gestured with her hand in a way that looked way too familiar. The group looked at Bakugo. If there were words to describe his expression, it looked like the surprised Pikachu meme at this moment. The girl closed her eyes and grinned. "Mommy likes to tease him and call him, how was it? Lord Explosion Murderer." Bakugo felt a cruel tug on his face. "Listen, kid, I don't fucking know where the hell you're from, but I'm not your daddy." The girl sent him a hard look and the group paused. "But you look like him, so you must be." "And I say I am not." "You are." Bakugo snapped, a vein throbbing on his forehead. He glared. "Listen, you little brat." "Meanie!" the girl exclaimed, giving him a scroll that rivaled his. "Definitely a kid," Kaminari muttered, seeing the identical scroll. "Totally." "Shh! She isn't. Maybe it's like, a future kid thingy. Mina chimed in. The other looked at her. She held her finger up. She could have a super weird quirk. The little girl blinked. Time travel or something, Time travel or not, I fucking don't have a kid. Bakugo hissed. The group ignored him, gathering around the little girl. Oh, you fucking listen! Why do I even bother? Fuck. Mina gasped, covering the girl's ears. Hey, Bakugo, watch your mouth! The girl paused. Bakugo? That's my name! She exclaimed. Bakugo froze. Mina looked back down, pulling her hair down to the little girl's ears. I'm Ayazaku Bakugo. Silence hung over them. Bakugo frowned, his eyes stressed over the girl. Though he hated to admit it, the similarities between the little girl and himself were almost too obvious. Her hair was a mix of his blonde and a certain shade he knew way too well. Her eyes were the same deep scarlet as his, and her scroll earlier was just like his. If he didn't severely doubt it, he would say this was his future kid. Ayazaku, Mina asked. The girl beamed at her happily, nodding. Mina hummed. She looked back at Bakugo. Well, she does seems look like you, Bakugo sneered. Huh? Bullshit. Bakugo? Kirishima huffed at his use of curse word in front of Ayazaku. Ayazaku laughed and closed her eyes. My daddy always say words like that. Oh yeah? Sarah asked, grinning shyly at Bakugo. Bakugo sneered once again and looked away, huffing hungrily. This was too confusing for him, too shocking. Why did he have to deal with this right now? Well, I hate to say it, guys, but how do we get little Ayazaku to go back to her own time? The other looked at him. Sarah shrugged. Restore the balance of whatever. They glanced at Ayazaku again. She looked at them all in confusion. Say, Ayazaku, do you know who your mommy is? Mina asked. Oh, what the fuck do we need to know that? Bakugo asked in annoyance. He wasn't particularly fond of the situation. Not only that, he didn't really care to find out who he ended up with in the future, despite his curiosity. It could go wrong and screw something up, and he didn't need that. Because the mother probably has the same quirk, Kirishima muttered, realizing what Mina has asked Ayazaku for, as Ayazaku's eyebrow pinched together. Well, I don't know her name, but, Ayazaku trailed off. Mina frowned. Footsteps started around the corner, and Ayazaku looked up. Her face visibly brightened. The group all turned to see you walk past them, heading towards your own classroom. Mommy! You jumped and turned at Ayazaku, ran over to you. Kaminari whistled. Damn, Bakugo, you picked good. Kaminari spoke. Bakugo's eyes widened slightly as he gazed at you. He didn't know much about you, except that you were friends with the losers who hung around him. Somehow, even though you were in general studies, you had made friends with a ton of Class 1A. What he also knew was something that he figured out as he stared at you now. Your hair color matched the one Ayazaku's. Ayazaku threw herself at you, wrapping her arm around your waist. Mommy! She repeated happily. You stared down at her in surprise. Your hand gently rested on her shoulder. You looked up, Mina waved as she neared you. Ashido? Who's this little girl? Mina giggled. You're not gonna believe this. You looked behind her as the rest of the Bakugo squad neared you. Your eyes flicked to Bakugo, who frowned and then looked down. Hey, what's your quirk? My quirk? Yep. Time space? A bad rule, I guess. I don't use my quirk much. It's not that useful, You replied. She looked back down. Anyway, who's that little girl? And why don't you want to let go? No, I love you, Mommy. You frowned. But I'm not. It's time travel part of your quirk? Sarah asked. You blinked and looked at him. Well, yeah. Ayazaku squeaked to Tither. You hopped at her. Is this one of your siblings or something? Actually, Kaminari trailed off. Mina gestured widely with her arm cheering. That's your future child! You jolted. What? Yep, yours and Bakugo! Mina told you happily. You stood still for a second. Ayazaku tilted her head back to look at you. You stared down at her, your eyes meeting with the red ones that you knew matched Bakugo perfectly. Your stomach jumped nervously and your eyes flicked over to Bakugo. His face was burning red and he was refusing to look at you. You felt your own face shoot with warmth. Oh, wait. You're kidding, right? You exclaimed. The others shook their head at you. Your eyes went wide as you looked down at the little girl hugging you. No way. The girl happily smiled up at you. You swallowed and looked at the other in confusion. You looked back at her again. So, how does she get back to her own time? Sarah asked. You paused. Right. You needed to send her back. You moved and gently pushed Ayazaku's away, crouching down. You looked at her, searching for a face. Hey, listen, little one. I want you to do something for me, You turned and looked at the other, motioning for them to move back. Cover your eyes too. That's just, do it. You looked at Ayazaku once again. I want you to remember exactly where you were this morning. Do you remember? I was eating breakfast with you and Daddy. You winced a little, still recovering from the shock of hearing you had a future kid. You swallowed. Right. Well, I want you to go back to there in your mind. Close your eyes, okay? You backed up. After a moment, a bright flash appeared. The others squeezed their eyes shut, their ears rung as a flashback had gone off in the other way. When they uncovered their eyes, Aizaku was gone. You sighed and glanced at everyone. You avoided contact with Bakugo. We should go back to class, I think. As you turned to leave, Bakugo spoke. Wait! You paused. He sent a glare at his friend. They quickly ran off, leaving him in the hallway alone with you. He shoved his hand in his pocket, barely glancing at you. I walked you to class or something. Damn it, this is your fault! Bakugo, or future Bakugo, growled at you. You glared. My fault? Future you hissed. He sent you a glare as equally fierce as you. It's a fucking quirk. If it was normal, then maybe Ayazaku wouldn't have disappeared. Bakugo hissed. You glared at him. I'm sorry, we can't all be like Great Lord fucking Explosion Murderer and destroy a bunch of shit. Bakugo glared at you. As he opened his mouth to hiss another thing at you, a loud flash occurred in the room. Bakugo huffed, covering his eyes. Fuck! He hissed at the spot appearing. When the flash was gone, you gasped in relief, seeing your little girl sitting in front of the kitchen. You dropped and slid as Bakugo rubbed at his eyes. You pulled Ayazaku in your arm. Oh, Ayazaku! You could happily. Hi, Mommy! Bakugo quickly forced his eye to return to normal. He dropped beside you, putting his hand on the back of your daughter's head as he hugged you to your chest. Mommy, you're crushing me. I'm sorry, baby, You released her, singing in relief. Bakugo's face was also written in relief. Where are you? I saw you and Daddy and Uncle Zero and Nari and Uncle Kiri and... Oh, Aunt Mina. You blinked. Huh? You asked in confusion. Bakugo paused. Right. Hiya. Why don't you do me and Mommy a favor? Go get dressed and today we go to the aquarium, okay? Bakugo asked. You glanced at him. Ayazaku cheered and ran off, leaving you and Bakugo on the kitchen floor. You blinked. You sighed. You frowned and glanced at him. The aquarium? But I thought you had work today, love. I called in or something. He muttered. He moved and helped you stand up. You huffed at him. Do you remember that day in UA when we met the little kid in the hallway? You blinked at him. Your face suddenly paled and you froze, remembering exactly what he was talking about. No, You half whispered, I guess that was today. You looked down and sighed. I guess I have to train her to control her quirk. I fucking hope so. You rolled your eyes at him. You huffed and looked away, remembering your argument. Bakugo moved after a moment of silence, pulling you into his arm. I'm sorry I insulted your quirk. You blinked at him. You sighed and relaxed it against him. You hugged him back, closing your eyes. Guess if she hadn't appeared to us, though, then she wouldn't be there. That's true. You pulled away. He looked down at you. Go get ready to the aquarium. I cleaned up. Are you sure? Yeah. Wear something hot, too. Okay.